Welcome to Waywut. This is a rabbit hole podcast where we cover topics ranging from sports to true crime and pop culture to just weird facts. Really, it's just a couple of guys taking turns to present weird topics to each other. We publish episodes on Tuesdays and sometimes on Fridays. You can watch us on YouTube and listen pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts. It's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Pandora, just wherever. We're probably there. We really appreciate you joining us for this episode. And now that we got all this self-promotion stuff out of the way, here we go. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Waywut. My name is Darrell. I am today's host, and here I am with the guy that keeps a functioning Teddy Ruxpin head, along with a nun outfit and a disturbingly discolored Pickle Rick action figure in his underwear drawer. Jason.
Man, that's awfully specific.
It's your shit, not mine.
How'd you know? How'd you know about the Pickle Rick thing?
I'll never tell. No.
Teddy Ruxpin, that was a very advanced toy at the time.
Yeah, it had a jaw that worked.
Mm-hmm. Pretty freaky.
Yeah, exactly. I know you. All right. So, with today, I would like to do a shameless rant.
Shameless.
Not
Great
the TV show.
Oh, it's
not
fantastic.
The TV show. Not the TV show. Just more about like being shameless.
All right.
So, social media is ruining perverted behavior. It's ruining it. I'm not too much of a kink shamer. I mean, whatever works for you, as long as you have a willing partner, if that's necessary, and it's all nice and legal, then have fun.
Unless you're playing that certain game.
That certain game? Oh, that game. Yeah. No, don't play that game.
Yeah.
I mean, and I say not too much of a kink shamer because I'm sorry, that's just, there's just some things even I'm like, come on.
Hey, whatever floats your boat.
Yeah. But with that being said, people are far too open about their kinks nowadays.
Okay.
Even when they're not legal, they're putting that stuff all over like Twitter and stuff. It's like, really, 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 really awful, gross things. I shouldn't know what people are into. But whenever you get like Twitter and Reddit, it's full of these kink communities that are loud and proud with their kinks. When did shame stop being part of the fun?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Peeking around the corner, everybody's looking before you sneak into that beaded curtain in the back of the video house.
Yes. I mean, having your hidden, whatever it is that got you off was, keeping the secret was part of the whole thing, was part of the cool stuff. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, you didn't tell everybody you were wearing a thong. You just wore a thong.
Because it felt good.
Whatever.
I mean, I wouldn't know.
Not that I do.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't know anything about that.
No, okay. I mean, it made like Truth or Dare more fun. If somebody got drunk and then they talked too much.
Oh yeah.
Fuck
the dares at that point. Yeah, you better pick truth.
Yeah, well, no, that's the thing. Even the truth thing would be that you could always laugh at your friend whenever he drunkenly confessed to like it when girls call him a stinky pig.
Yeah, when they pull out a little diddler.
Hey, stinky pig! Be a good time. Everybody would enjoy it. He would feel humiliated and be like, "I could tell you're embarrassed. You got a boner."
A little nervous boner.
Well, the stinky pig ones like being embarrassed. But I mean, the internet ruined everything. I mean, at first it was, the way for people to talk to each other anonymously, which, cool, be, all about your kinks, but it's like, nobody's going to look up, like Gimp Mask 22 and find their house. All the weirdos were able to get into their weirdo groups and talk about their weird fetishes without, the other teachers at their elementary school finding out that they like dressing up like various Jim Carrey characters whenever they have sex.
Well,
But
we've all been there. I mean,
it got to be a secret.
Ace Ventura was a sex figure.
But just like the rich and powerful, once you get what you think you want, it isn't enough anymore. So since regular people aren't rich enough to move on to an illegal, and move on and go to an illegal kink island, uh instead they out themselves out in public. That's their big next jump.
That's how the next getting off phase.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that's why, like, about 10 years ago, we started hearing "Don't judge me" all the time. It's because everybody started putting out their bullshit, and they're just like, "Don't judge me," and it's like,
Yeah.
you put out your bullshit. Of course, I get to judge you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with our current culture, where we're not supposed to shame anything, and everywhere is supposed to be a safe
Accepted.
place. Yeah, all the freaks are coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
And it's all out there on YouTube, just regular old YouTube right now. Like, the women that like to act like and be treated like dogs, men who want to drink their wife's breast milk,
Yep.
women marrying their alien dolls.
Well, haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, nobody wants to know that, though, except the other freaks that get off on knowing stuff like that. I mean, I think that's a part of all these kinks now. It's not just whatever weird stuff they like. It's making sure that they can put it in the faces of everyone else, whether they want to know or not. That's now part of the kink. I mean, how come consent doesn't work to making my brain a safe space?
Yeah, I don't want to know that shit.
Well, if I'm subject to know more than I want to know, then I'm bringing you all down with me. But I'm doing it Darrell style.
Oh,
That sounds
hell.
bad.
Darrell style.
I'm going to talk about kinky stuff today, but in a way that entertains me. See, that sounds way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. What are we going to get into?
Today's
Nipple tassels and... Oh,
no.
okay.
Today's topics will be great perverts in history.
Okay.
Yeah, see,
That's a great introduction.
It deserved that kind of gravitas.
I see the title now. It's just popping on the screen. Pop.
You should. Okay, well, back in the long ago, before Intro to Sexual Deviancy was part of the 3rd grade curriculum, we would learn about various historical figures and their dark sides. And their dark sides usually being that they were huge racists. I mean, it was never fun to hear about, but at the same time, it was the culture of the time. Plus, it was a great way of showing the progress we've made since then. It's like, oh, Christopher Columbus was like a terrible human being. Yes, he was. But yes. I got a nice house in Texas now. If he hadn't, like, kind of done all that, then I could be in some, like, gutter rat in London or something. So
yeah, you never know.
Yeah. However, historians are always doing research, and now instead of their research just gathering dust in some academic journal that only other history weirdos will read, we have the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now we know that many of those racist people that molded our world into the very weird place it is today were also huge perverts.
Yeah, I could see them being into some weird shit.
Yeah.
What else I got to do?
Well, depends, but I'm going to start with the guy that inspired this episode for me. I just kind of randomly caught wind of this, and the thing that I heard didn't really paint him as a pervert, but come on, he's a pervert. All right. Nikolai Minovici is kind of an outlier whenever it comes to my whole list today, because his research was not inherently sexual. But with that being said, he was probably smart enough not to leave any diaries around because this dude absolutely had to be a freak.
All right.
The Romanian scientist was born in 1868 and
Red
obtained
flag number
his
one.
maybe, and
He's awfully bendy. Yeah.
he obtained his PhD in forensic science in 1898. He used that education to become a criminologist. He did things like study connections between tattooing and criminal behavior, which surprisingly for the time found no relation to tattoos and criminal behavior.
Oh,
Yeah,
that would be odd.
I know, because like back then it wasn't like everybody's all tatted up.
Mm-hmm.
He created one of the first emergency and ambulance services. He employed the homeless. He opened shelters for single women. And as cool as any of that is, none of that is what caught my attention.
Of course not.
No.
What made you say, wait, what?
He was very fascinated with the effects of hanging on the human body.
Hanging?
Hanging.
Like hanging by your neck or just hanging by body part? Or
Hanging by your neck.
all right.
If you're a scientist in early 20th century and you want to study hanging, what might be the best way?
Watching criminals hang.
What he did is he fixed a pulley on his ceiling and put a non-contracting noose around his neck. Then he pulled as hard as he could.
Oh.
Yeah, he passed out after 6 seconds. And since he was the one pulling the rope.
Wait, come on. I could do it for like at least 20. I mean.
But since he did a non-constricting noose and all that, he was smart about it. And whenever he stopped pulling on the rope, once he fainted, he got loose and was able to breathe. Now, as most couples know, an experiment is something you try once. But if you keep doing it and find new ways to do it, it's a kink.
It just becomes a habit.
Yeah, well, yeah. He hung himself about 12 times total. Then he got some of his assistants to hang him another 7 times.
All of them lasting like 6 seconds. He passed out and then let go.
Apparently, they just wanted to get in on the fun. So he also had experiments where he would choke his assistants. It's a big choking party. Yeah. Now, all of these studies eventually resulted in a 200-page paper called A Study on Hanging.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Go figure.
I feel like this is the equivalent of someone with a business card buying tickets to a hockey game and taking a customer that they're friends with. I mean, they get beer, sit in their seats, and say, "How's work?" Boom! It's officially a business expense. That's kind of what this guy did. He's sitting there like, oh yeah, that's good. Oh, and they're like, he's like, oh god, yeah, I keep buying all this rope with grant money. Better write a paper.
A 200-page paper.
Yeah. That's a big paper.
That's a lot of writing back in the day.
The longest paper I think I ever wrote for school is like 25 pages or something like that. So
I had to write a big paper like that.
Well, it wasn't 200 pages.
No, mine was about. I
definitely wouldn't have hung myself for any of them. Now, I am not saying that for sure he was a pervert, but it's a strange thing to be fascinated with when 1 in 3 male hanging victims died with an erection.
Mm-hmm. It's a thing, right?
Yes,
erotica asphyxia or whatever it's called.
Or autoerotic asphyxiations whenever you do it to yourself. But yeah.
I wouldn't know. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about.
But yeah, like 1 in 3, they'd be hanging, like in Robin Hood or whatever, they'd have like a row of like 6 guys. Well, 2 of them would die with boners, What an embarrassing way to go.
No crap. You already shit your pants and you got a boner.
Yeah, then it's going out with pride. You're making the women go, oh my God, look at that. That's wow.
I'd go, if I was ever hung, I'd do it pantless.
And hung in which way?
Yeah.
All
Y'all
right.
gonna see
Well,
everything. Y'all gonna see me shit, and you're gonna see me get a boner.
everybody will be like, was it crapping himself or hanging that gave him that boner?
You'll never know. Come dead.
Now, the result of his studies was that hanging hurts your throat.
No shit.
Yeah. And it blurs your vision and other very, very obvious effects.
Man, this guy's a genius.
Oddly enough, in his paper, he never mentions the
The boner.
effects that happen, below the waistline. He don't talk about
Mm-mm.
the surprising willies.
That's in a paper underneath his bed that he writes in every night.
I think it's one of those things. It's plausible deniability. Somebody be like, man, you hung yourself all the time. I heard people get off of that. He'll be like, what? I didn't see that in my study. And they're like, you
Never happened
didn't.
to
He'll be
me.
like, here's 200 pages, and not once does it say the word erection.
Oh man, that's funny.
But when it comes to this guy, they say, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. This dude loved hanging. And unless he liked having a sore neck, then I'm guessing he might have been part of that 1 in 3, that would get their boner. Eventually, Nikolai died in 1941. He was a lifelong bachelor, another check in the probable pervert column.
Mm-hmm.
He left
Not a
his
red flag.
Yeah. He left his entire estate to Romania, the country. Romania is very proud of him. So if he kept an autoerotic asphyxiation diary, they won't tell us. He's like a national treasure for them. They make stamps with this guy's face on it. So I don't think they want anybody knowing about any weird boners that he would get. That's it. Look at all his ambulances. He got a weird boner. It's like, no, he don't.
Well, of this 200-page paper, was anything of note? Like, was there anything learned that we still use today that you read?
Hanging hurts.
I mean, hanging kills.
It'll
Yeah, I
kill
mean,
you. I mean, there were certain things like the speed of certain styles. Like whenever you would, like he never did the whole like breakneck thing, but
mm-hmm,
just basically essentially showing that whenever you don't break the neck, it is like in a pretty excruciating way to go.
mm-hmm. All
Um,
right.
well, that does it for my one theorized pervert. He's the only one that I have a pervert theory on. The rest have documented evidence that they were perverts.
Okay.
Yeah. I will say now that I'm leaving out any musician or artist because let's face it, they're all perverts and we know it. Every single one of them. That even goes for Taylor Swift. The same goes for any ancient Greeks and Romans. If you don't understand why, then go watch Caligula or read a book or something. Then you'll
Yeah.
know why they get excluded. Well, we're going to start this with an Irishman. James Joyce was an Irish author born in 1882. He was a modernist that was known for his uses of varying literary styles in his works. He was particularly known for his works that utilized streams of consciousness. So, whenever instead of it being like he did this or I did that, it's I am walking down the hall. I am seeing this. It is
Talking in
supposed to be
third person.
happening. Well, it's first person present, kind of. That's what
Okay.
stream of consciousness more or less is.
Being a narrator of his own story.
Well, I mean, not necessarily him, but I mean, whatever the story was about. I mean, you don't really come across a lot of that go for the stream of consciousness. Most things are written in the past tense
Kind of
because
like
it is
Fight
a
Club,
story
how
that's
that
being
was
told.
written.
I don't know. I never read the book.
Do what? Oh, I'll talk about the movie. How they did
No,
the movie.
I don't know. Was it a book?
Oh,
I think it was a book. It was a
it was
book.
a book. Yeah.
Okay. All right. His two most famous works was Ulysses and Finnegan's Wake. I'm not here to talk literature though. I'm here to talk about this guy's particular tastes. In letters to his lovers, he had a particular act that he absolutely loved. He loved farts. He wanted to fart on his lady's face. He wanted her to fart on his face. His letters also seemed to show that he enjoyed when a woman would fart while they were actually in the act of intimacy.
Oh, come
Yeah,
on. Sicko.
he liked to boff the farts out of a lady. But why do we want to hear me? I'm not a critically acclaimed writer. I'm just a, redneck guy in Texas. So I'm going to share some excerpts out of this guy's letters.
Oh yeah.
Now I'm going to leave out the really explicit bits because this dude, no, I would not be comfortable with that one. It's like,
we'll blur your face or something.
No,
we don't know what you saying.
My mom might start listening to this show again, so I want to be safe.
We could put a warning in the beginning.
No, I'm just not.
Oh,
all right. So here's the first excerpt.
All right.
I think I would know Nora's farts anywhere. I think I could pick hers out in a room full of farting women. It is a rather girlish noise, not like the wet, windy fart which I imagine fat wives have. It is sudden and dry and dirty, like what a bold girl would let off in fun in a school dormitory at night. I hope Nora will let off no end of her farts in my face so that I may know their smell also.
Damn.
Isn't that romantic?
It's like he's describing wine.
Oh yeah, no, it was.
He's a true connoisseur.
It is so much worse whenever you actually read the full excerpts. So the next one, I had to cut out a lot.
Oh,
because it was a letter to Nora.
Won't you read it and just bleep it as you read it?
No, it's because even then I thought about that. I absolutely thought about that, but it is just too much. It is too much.
What if you say the word banjo or something silly?
No, it's still, because it's not just the word banjo that's the problem. It's everything around it. So just know that this whole excerpt here is about making his lady fart while they do it.
Making her fart? Like, you better fart right now, or
no, like he would F the farts out of her. He'd fuck the farts out of her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he really liked that whenever he pulled that one. So here we go. Fat, dirty farts came sputtering out your backside. You had an ass full of farts that night, darling. He goes on to describe.
Is this their wedding vows?
Yeah, he's not done yet. Here's a big chunk I had to cut out, so I replaced that with, he goes on describing them. Big fat fellows, long windy ones, quite little merry cracks, and a lot of tiny little naughty farties ending in a long gush from your hole. I mean, as bad
as he describes them, I'm like, damn, maybe I like farts.
I mean, he's a great writer now. Like, now you see, like, just how. I mean, like, I sit there saying that, like, I cut out the explicit bits. I left, there's a lot still there. It was so much worse. It was like just like insanely worse.
That's greatness. That is pure greatness.
Yeah, there's nothing really else to say about this. So,
there's plenty to say. You just choose not to say it.
Yeah, but that'll do it for this great pervert in history. So, thank you, James Ass Blast Joyce. Now let's do someone more famous. We're gonna go with Charlie Chaplin.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel like this one is cheating since, you could close your eyes and point at a list of actors. In all likelihood, you would point at some sort of degenerate. Just like, eeny, meeny, money. Oh, yeah, he's a total perv. But being that this guy that's been famous for over 100 years because of his movies, let's talk about him because all they ever really talk about is like his movies and the fact that he made like something that like spit in the face of Hitler and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And then
one of the
he
first movie
he ended
stars.
up leaving the U.S. because he was going to get blacklisted because he was a suspected communist and all that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but Charlie Chaplin wasn't that special. He did the usual gross ass Hollywood thing, the casting couch.
Oh,
Yeah, this is in like the 1920s, so it'd be like
he was way ahead of his
it'd be
time.
like, please sit upon my casting lounge. You know, while
I'll
women
get
were
you in the business.
while women were auditioning, he'd hold up caption cards during the audition with increasingly suggestive acts and poses. Because remember, this is silent film. Like he would not talk during their auditions. He'd hold up cards and they'd have to like mime things out and act them out. But of course he kept doing pervy mime stuff. By the
Stayed
end
in
of
character.
by the end of the audition, they would be naked or nearly naked.
All right.
However,
Must
it
be a
did
good
not
writer too.
it did not stop there. He would have the naked or nearly naked actress sit on the couch with him, and then in an exaggerated fashion, as if in a silent movie, he would begin groping them. So I'd be all like, do, 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 I'm just kidding. This is part of the process. Like, no.
Mm,
It's like, I'm not getting off on this. We're just
at
trying to make
all. Yeah,
good
this is fun.
movies. Yeah.
This is funny.
Yeah. Again, though, it didn't stop there. After he got all the squeezes he wanted, he'd have the naked lady stand against a wall and he would begin throwing pies at them. It's a whole new meaning for the word cream pie. Throughout all of this, he would never say a word. And if they cried out during any of this, they would fail the audition because they were unfit to mime. If you're like, oh, no, you made a noise, you're out, pick up your panties and go. Like, whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a new one.
I mean, this
What
wasn't
kind of
his,
pies?
I don't know, pies. Who
Is there
came
a
up with
specific
flavor?
purpose?
Nobody was ever like, I mean, I'm sure it was like cream pies of some sort because if you're going to throw
Like
some,
chocolate, coconut. You got good pecan pie they go throw out every once in a while. You feeling naughty?
what is wrong with you? I mean, now the audition things were not the only things. I mean, he was into orgies and underage girls, but for this great pervert in history, we're gonna leave Charlie I like pie Chaplin right here with his weird ass pie story.
Yeah, he really likes pie.
Yeah. Let's hop on back over to another author, but one that is, very well known. Hans Christian Andersen. He's the
Okay.
guy that wrote fairy tales like The Little Mermaid and The Ugly Duckling.
Mm-hmm.
He was also celibate. Darrell, what kind of pervert just doesn't do the deed? Well, a very particular kind of pervert never does the deed. I mean, and you'd be like, okay, but what kind of self-disrespecting pervert never has sex? A very dedicated one. That's what kind of pervert.
Man.
Yeah. And he was very dedicated to self-abuse. He liked to play solo a lot. A lot. Not only did he like to pull his pud frequently, he liked to document it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Tell stories about it or something?
Well, he kept a diary, and he would just have like normal entries for the most part. I'll get to some of them. He, have normal entries for the most part, but he would put plus signs next to the date for each time he choked his chicken that day. Yeah, so it's like where some people are like, "Oh, it's been this many days since I had a drink." He's like, I spanked my monkey a bunch."
Yeah, you got 6+ signs on this day. What the hell happened?
Well, he also enjoyed wasting money because he enjoyed visiting prostitutes. this celibate guy that did not
Have
never
sex.
had sex, you loved visiting prostitutes. He would talk to them for a while, then he would rush home and beat his meat. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, tell me, bye," and run home and just sit there and just whack the weasel, like as soon as he got there.
Did he have like a weird dick or something?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. I mean,
Maybe he didn't want
nothing.
anybody to see it.
I
Maybe
don't
it
know.
was like a duck's dick and it was all spiral or something.
I don't know. I just can't stand the waste of money there. I mean, that's like buying a cheeseburger, smelling it, and throwing it in the trash, then rushing home to make something healthy to eat.
Yeah, you might as well just call customer service and talk to him for a little bit.
Yeah, well, back then they didn't have that. I mean,
No,
technically, he did the equivalent of that back then. But it doesn't stop there because it never ever does.
no. He got one a little more.
He enjoyed falling in love with people. And I'm not saying people because like I'm trying to be careful with like misgendering people. He loved both men and women. It was just important that whoever the person that he was in love with did not love him back. Yeah, he didn't want that. He would write these overly sappy love letters to whoever it was, knowing full well that they would reject him.
He liked the chase.
Well, once they
He liked the game.
rejected him, his diary would have like a whole bunch of new plus signs from him punching his clown. It's like, they told me no. Yeah. Now, myself being someone that's had a lot of issues with rejection in my younger years, I look at his desire to be rejected and I'm dumbfounded. He wasn't afraid of rejection. He conquered rejection and he made it his bitch.
Yeah.
You know,
Over and over and over again.
yeah. I mean, now, personally, I'd rather be afraid of rejection than, someone that's compelled to whip my willy when a lady tells me no. I mean, I don't know. That's just me. So there's another great perverts in history. So that is Hans Christian. I
I
love
like to
myself,
beat my beat.
Andersen.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we'll just move on from this weirdo now. Okay. I'm going to wrap this episode up with someone that is held in very high regard for his ability to create change with nonviolence. Mahatma Gandhi.
Okay.
Yep, that Gandhi, the little bald Indian guy that helped end British rule in India. Gandhi believed that sexual stimulation could stir up violence in a person's thoughts or behaviors. In 1906, he took a vow of celibacy at the age of 36. Of course, this was after his arranged marriage that he, been in since he was 13, and after he fathered,
Did all the
four
fucking he
children.
wanted to. Yeah.
Fathered 4 children after that. I couldn't find if it bothered his wife or not. So don't ask. I mean, she was very supportive of like all his stuff, so I'm imagining she was kind of cool with it,
Not
She's
getting a D anymore, she was cool with.
I guess so, or not getting his D. I mean,
Oh, okay.
there's no things about her sexual escapades. He also believed all Indian men should not get married, and if they did, they shouldn't have sex. He believed that sex was solely for procreation and should not be enjoyed. Yeah.
But that's why there's a lot of Indian girl freaks out there.
Are they? That was one thing I never checked off my checklist.
No, I don't. It's not on my list.
It was on my checklist, but I didn't get to it.
You haven't marked that box.
In order to adhere to his vow of celibacy, he felt it was necessary to test himself and his followers for 2 years following his wife's death in 1944. So once she was out of the picture, he thought he needed to test himself and his followers, but not all his followers. just the ladies. His test was putting himself in close contact with naked women. He would have women of all ages, and I mean all ages, sleep naked with him, bathe with him, and massage him while they were naked. But it gets better. One of the young women he felt necessary to test himself sleeping naked with was his grandniece. Yeah. And as a flex, also his grandnephew's 18-year-old wife. He's like, oh,
Yeah, bring her
grandnephew,
to.
I need to borrow that lady because we need to test ourselves to make sure that, we're strong. He wanted to make sure he could control himself to the extent that he would not even become aroused in these situations. Which, I'll be honest, nothing ever was for sure said if that was the case, but you will see. Not all of his followers were cool with this. Color me stunned.
Shockingly.
I
Yeah,
know. I'm
whoa.
like, oh my god. There are letters from that little 2-year stint asking him to stop that practice. One in particular saying that he would withdraw from his ashram if he did not stop doing those tests. I mean, if he didn't stop doing those tests, he was gonna withdraw. He was like one of his higher followers. The letter noted 2 different women that he used in his experiments that had a tendency to weep constantly and are stressed until to the point that they were ill.
Damn.
Yeah. Both letters scolded Gandhi for using those women for his experiments without any concern for them or their well-being. Dude writing the letter was furious about women being treated as objects, which I was impressed. I mean, this was like the 1940s. This is like whenever, the height of when women were objects.
Yeah.
It's like,
Stay in the kitchen. Yeah.
I mean, one source said that Gandhi did give up the test after 2 years, but another said that he did continue to share his bed with both his grandnieces until his death. Just
That's weird.
yucky.
Yeah.
So, that is the final great pervert in history. That is Mahatma, check if I'm hard, Gandhi. I'm not. Trust me. Feel.
Yeah, that's not hard.
You don't believe me? Look at it.
This is no.
Well, it wasn't hard until you looked at it. God.
Until you touched it.
God. Now, I feel like I learned something with this episode. One being that extreme in either direction, whether fulfilling all your fantasies or abstaining from sex, either one of those will make you crazy. I mean, we really see it all the time. You get all those famous people going to those sex islands or mistreating people because they can do whatever they want, whenever they want, and it puts them in a position to push the boundaries over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get the people that, don't do anything sexual and end up, like doing the whole Catholic priest scandal thing. So I think the moral of the story is maybe everyone is weird in some way, or everything in moderation, or maybe it's don't be weird. I'll keep it simple. If it's legal or will make somebody cry, don't do it. If it's illegal or will make somebody cry, don't do it. Yeah, that's the moral. I think that'll do it.
Yeah. Privates tend to rule people's worlds a lot.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you have any other comments about all these wonderful perverts that help shape our world into what it is today?
Did that first guy write any books about the type of farts, like which ones are the best, which
all the
ones
fart
are the
stuff was
worst?
in private letters to like his wife and stuff.
Not like a top 10 list of the best farts to smell, the ones to stay away
Just
from.
how much he loved farts.
Did he bottle any of them up to sniff them again later?
I don't think so. All right. So
that shit's funny.
If you enjoyed
Art
this
poetry.
If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, follow, subscribe, do all that other stuff. Comment and tell us about other famous perverts we may have missed out on.
Yeah, or what?
Don't tell us about your
I can't say
kinks.
that.
Don't tell us about your kinks because we don't care. I don't care about your kinks. Jason, do you want to know their kinks?
I was going to say put it in the comments, but no, don't do that.
No, we don't want to know your kinks. But yeah, do that and tell all your friends, So,
yeah, happy whacking.
Yeah. Join us next time. And if you aren't too busy with your furry convention, Jason, then, maybe you can come next week. And I don't mean come like that. Maybe you'll join us. No, don't join us like that either. Maybe whenever you will host the show next week and tell us some stuff that will make us say, Waywut.
Yes, I will.
Unless you're sick from pink eye because you found a new fetish with that fart story.
But, man, that's super funny.
Next episode, your eyes will be swollen shut. You're like, oh.
You don't realize how many types of farts there are until you actually start paying attention. Everybody farts different. They all sound this different.
It's like a fingerprint.
Not one fart is the same. It's like a fingerprint or a snowflake.
I will not attest to any real life farts that I may or may not be aware of.
No, you can drop some ass, girl. You can drop some ass.
Let's leave that out of this.
I've stayed in plenty of hotel rooms with you.
No, enough of this. All right, bye.
Later.
Thank you for joining us for Waywut. We really appreciate you watching or listening. Please subscribe or follow us on your favorite platform to catch our latest episodes that we publish on Tuesdays and sometimes on Fridays. We'd love to hear from you, whether it's rating us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, commenting on our videos or just a podcast episode, or following us and hitting us up on TikTok, Facebook, or X. You can find us there with our handle, Waywut Podcasts. That's WAYWUT Podcast. And that will do it for this episode. Join us next time and we'll make you say, Waywut.